Well, the world's best cliff divers are ready to embrace the heritage of Starry Moss, the old bridge of Mostar, and bravely leap into the cold waters of the Neretva River. From this iconic landmark in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and all in front of a crowd of 15,000 fanatical spectators, we are set to roll here at stop number 6 of the 2018 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Welcome everyone, I'm Trace Worthington. Thanks for joining us, and here with me to break down the action is our Red Bull Cliff Diving expert, Joey Zuber. And Joey, once again, a nail biter of a season as we come into Mostar, looking at the points and who will earn the prestigious King MACAULAY Trophy in 2018.
Yeah, that's right, Trace. It's the penultimate stop, and we have a very, very tight battle for both the men and the women, and to see who will hold that prestigious King MACAULAY Trophy at the ultimate stop in Italy.
No doubt about it, and unfortunately David Colturi will not be competing because of a recent injury, but the good news is that he will be joining us for the commentary. Before David takes a seat, we find him riverside near the landing zone. David, what's up?
Thanks, Trace. It's my 4th time here in Mostar, and I always love coming back to this city that truly loves cliff diving. For centuries, the locals have jumped off Starry Moss, and it's such a joy to come back and share that passion and love that exudes cliff diving. The crowd is into it, the conditions are perfect, people are everywhere here along the river, and it's a legendary location to have the best cliff diving event in the world. Don't forget, check out the hashtag Red Bull Cliff Diving, use it in your Instagram post, show us where you're watching from, we might put you in our live show. I'm really excited to call the action here in Mostar. I'm going to join you guys in the booth here in a little bit. I'll see you guys soon.
All right, thanks Dave, looking forward to it from a man who had 2 podiums here, 2 third place finishes in his career. And as we get ready for the women's final round of 4, all 4 dives count. Joey, get us up to speed on a few of the highlights from their earlier dives.
All right, speaking of highlights, we have round 1 for the women, Adriana Jimenez from Mexico. So this is the required dive round, showing the grace and the elegance, the more simple dives, but a very, very well executed dive by Adriana. There's a beautiful pike position, great form in the air, and making those final adjustments for a clean entry. Next up, the 2 times Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion, Rihanna Nifland, with her optional dive round. This is about maximizing the degree of difficulty, inward triple somersault in the tuck position. And that lady sure knows how to find the rip entry. And then Lisanne Richard with a flying back somersault, showing off her grace and elegance as well. And she's very, very well known for those rip entries, drawing down the splash. A fine athlete, mother of 3, former Cirque du Soleil performer, and a fine cliff diver.
All right, so great 3 rounds of diving so far off the old bridge for the women. So leading into the 4th and final round, kicking it off will be Celia Fernandez, the wildcard diver from Spain. So it's the low score after 3 rounds of diving will run first. So reverse order, Jess MACAULAY of Great Britain will run 7, Rihanna Nifland number 8, and Lisanne Richard, who's won here before, will go 10th or 9th, and Adriana Jimenez of Mexico will dive last. So Adriana Jimenez, the one to beat on the women's side as we enter the 4th and final round. And look at that, Starry Moss, the old bridge of Mostar, as the women get set for their 4th and final round, and a crowd of 15,000 fanatical fans on hand to check out the world's best cliff divers. Weather beautiful outside, 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Water temperature nice and chilly, 14 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the platforms, the women's platform, 21 meters, that's 70 feet off the Neretva River, and the men's platform, 27 meters, 90 feet above the river. Celia Fernandez will kick things off of Spain, works as an engineer in Barcelona, the wildcard diver.
Celia Fernandez playing it safe for that diver. Back double somersault with 1 twist. And she's gaining that valuable experience. She's a wild card, first ever competition, and what an honor it is to dive in front of such a grateful spectators. that we have here in Mostar. There's a long-standing history, over 400 competitions diving from this bridge, jumping up there, nice, strong takeoff. There she's looking at the water. That is called the Burani, the trampoline maneuver. So cliff diving is a combination of trampolining and also diving. And you can see how the athletes are landing feet first, and that is to withstand that very strong impact, 71 kilometers per hour. Celia Fernandez from Spain, just a little hunched on entry, kicking up some splash, but nonetheless, we salute her for the bravery, very lively and bubbly character.
Celia Fernandez will kick off the women's 4th round with a 52 on that particular dive. You add that together with the first 3, and she comes in with a score of 187.40 as the combined total. Spectators lining the Neretva River. 5 judges, by the way. Anke Piper of Germany, the head judge, the 3-time European champion and Olympic judge, leads the way there with the 5-judge panel. Katie Ederman of the United States, ready to launch. First career start on this Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Gymnastics background, who recently dove for the University of Minnesota. Go Gophers. What's she doing? Joey.
Okay, here we go. This is the optional dive round. It's all about pushing the degree of difficulty. Front triple somersault in the pike position with a half twist. So rotating forwards from the platform, legs will stay straight, folding against the body. Looking to impress the judges. Katie Ederman. You can see some water being displaced at the end of the dive, but it's so difficult to manage the height. She comes from the House of Dancing Water, which is a show somewhat like Cirque du Soleil. They dive from varying heights of 17 meters, 20 meters, but it's a whole nother ball game when you have to deal with the environment of the bridge. You have this big open space underneath the bridge, and normally you have a cliff face, which makes it a little easier to adjust for the landing, but in this case with this dive, quite a big over rotation. So throwing the arms forward to generate the rotation. There's the pike position, squeezing in nice and tight. Full marks to the judges. She's got a wonderful, elegant line. You can see the body absolutely straight, the arms above the head, trying to slow it down. So 2 things she could have done, just slowed it down or opened out a little earlier. Katie Ederman.
Katie Ederman of the United States, 42.50 in her debut on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Many wild card divers have a shot now of trying to get on this series. Remember, there's permanent divers, and there's Greg Louganis. What an icon, and David Colturi-Jones is in the booth, and you grew up watching this guy.
Oh, so cool. I mean, Greg was a diving hero for me, a role model. I wrote a book report on him in 6th grade. It's so awesome to see him in the sport of cliff diving now. He's our sport director. He's still a mentor. Really, really cool to have him on board.
It is cool, and again, we all grew up watching him, and he is such an icon and has led the way. Ira Schmidbauer of Germany next to drop, his 2nd appearance for this season on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. She was 8th in Sisikon, Switzerland. She studies sports science and is very passionate about painting and drawing. And she looks over 15,000 fans. Has to be intimidating, guys. You know, really, as a newcomer to the series, looking over and seeing 15,000 passionate fans.
Absolutely. I mean, you can definitely feel the nerves. I was down at the athletes area for warm-up. Some people are a little nervous. Some people are handling it well. It's definitely a nerve-wracking thing, but everybody's pushing through, and they're going to dive well. Ooh, nice takeoff, Iris. Unfortunately, it looked like she didn't quite finish the dive on the entry. We're going to get a better angle here in a minute. That drone shot is awesome from up top. Looked like a real strong start and a good tuck, but she just left it a little bit short on the entry. Here she is swimming her way back in that chilly water. Iris is definitely making a good progression. She started out real tough, and she's finding her route now. She was a little bit backed off there. She has a strong kick, but right here, she just leaves it a little bit short. Her chest is down. She doesn't get that vertical line. She's a little loose, and that's why it's too splashy. You'll see the hips pop back, and the direction of that throw is just a little bit too far down, so she's not finishing it as high as she could. So this is where she gets in trouble. She just hits a little loose and short. Not going to be the best marks from the judges, but she's getting some good experience, and she's definitely progressing.
Ira Schmidbauer, 49.40, 5 judges. The high and the low are tossed out. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. For Schmidbauer of Germany, comes in with a grand total of 215.40 after 4 dives. Schmidbauer, third to go of 10 in this women's final round. Xanthia Panisi gets ready to fly. Fellow Aussie, Joey.
That's right, from my hometown of Brisbane. And the interesting thing is she's actually only learnt to actually high dive from 20 meters around about 2 to 3 months ago. And she's been lucky enough to be training with Rhiannon Iflan right now. So what a great mentor and a great person to guide you through the sport of cliff diving. 19 years of age, first competition, in front of a huge crowd. What an experience and what an honor, I have to say. So Xanthia, front triple somersault in the pike position, rotating forwards once again. Wow, I'm in admiration of the bravery of all of these athletes. Great sportsmanship, great sportswomanship. Everybody appreciates one another. They understand what it's like to stand on the platform. They understand the mental game that you have to go through. And like I said before, with only 2 to 3 months worth of experience diving from 20 meters, relatively low scores from the judges, but nonetheless, as we said, we salute her for having the courage to dive from 21 meters, 71 kilometers per hour impact. Beautiful pipe position coming around into the Barani there, and looked like she just didn't work the end of the dive there, David Coulturi, just left it short of vertical.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it. She's such a young diver. She's got such a cool experience and opportunity here, and she's going to figure this out. I mean, she's got so many great characteristics. She has a lot of potential. She just needs a little bit more repetitions and more experience to finish a dive like that better in competition, but it's going to come.
Great experience just being here and in front of this passionate crowd. A lot of pressure, 40 points on that dive. You add that together with the first 3, 222.60 for the wild card diver. 15,000 fans on hand, the old bridge of Mostar, Stari Most. And look at that, it is packed in here. Every ounce of real estate is taken by these fans in downtown Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ginger Huber of the United States, 43 years old, the most senior female diver on this World Series. Lives in Orlando, performing aerial shows. Was in ESPN's Body Issue as a model in 2014. A very impressive diver, guys.
Ginger's also dove off the famous cliffs of Acapulco.
Andy Jones hanging out in the window.
Perfect viewing.
It's a good spot.
Ooh, Ginger just sitting it down a little bit on that over on the entry. You know, interesting, Ginger's had a bit of a rough season. She was battling a knee injury from last year. She didn't get to train much. She's actually decided to dumb down her dives a little bit. She's really just having some fun. And it's cool to be around Ginger in this scenario now. She really has a good grasp on how to experience the series as she's kind of coming towards the end here. She gets a good takeoff on this inward double half, a beautiful pike, looks at the water, but she's just a little bit too fast coming in here. See the arms coming up trying to slow down, and she just goes a little bit over on entry, creating that big splash on the bottom. Normally, Ginger would do an inward triple half in the tuck position, so this is a little bit easier for her, and maybe just not adjusting enough here on the bottom. She takes it a little bit over, big splashes. But the thing I love about Ginger is she just has such a great attitude. She's so fun to be around. She has a really good grasp. She's an awesome lady.
Yeah, no question about that. Always has a smile on her face. 44 points on that. 239.60 is the total for Huber of the United States. She moves into the lead and is now the score to beat. Ginger Huber, 5 of 10. So we're midway through the women's final round here in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And the old bridge, Stari Most. 15,000 spectators on hand. Yana Nestirava will give it a shot here. First season as a permanent diver, drummer, skateboarder, snowboarder, does all the cool action sports, and cliff diver, of course.
All-round talented athlete, Jana Nestoriava. Most of all, she is best at the sport of cliff diving. Wonderful Stari Most Bridge. And the locals are very passionate about this UNESCO heritage site. Jana Nestoriava, it's all about maximising degree of difficulty. The front triple somersault in the pike position, 1.5 twists. Jana needs a lot of energy and a lot of power. So the difference between the required dives and the optional dive, David Kulturi, I mean, you really need a lot of technique and a lot of strength to be able to do these kind of dives.
Absolutely, and with only 21 meters down to the water, it's a lot of dive to fit in. She gets a full twist on the takeoff. She comes in for that pike. Here she's coming in for the entry. Something she normally does really well. She finishes her dives well, but she still manages to sneak in the water. This dive, not quite the case. A strong takeoff, good twist, gets into that pike shape. Normally, this is where she would get her feet down and go through the water tall and vertical, but you see how she's a little pikey there. She leaves her hips behind her, it just rolls over with a little splash.
Do you think the divers find it difficult with the open bridge?
It can definitely be tight, yeah, with the visuals, and it's a tough thing diving here in Mostar with the river. It's a little tough.
Jana, first place, 280.55, a good position to be, with 4 remaining in this women's 4th and final round. All 4 scores are added together. You have Jessa MACAULAY yet to go, and don't forget to watch the latest videos. Follow us on social media and check out the Facebook page at Red Bull Cliff Diving on Facebook. Epic photos, videos, and great stories. Check it out.
Jessica MACAULAY with a brand new dive that she just learned here in Mostar, a reverse triple somersault in the tuck position. So Adriana Jimenez is the only other athlete to perform that dive. So I really admire Jessica MACAULAY for trying all of these different dives. Mentally, I think she's got a great attitude.
Absolutely. She's got a good coach in Texas that's pushing her through. She's just, I mean, look at her. She's all smiles. She's having fun. She's got a good energy about her. And this is tough, performing a dive for the first time as a wild card. This is a tough situation to be in, but she's in a good spot. She's towards the end of the order. Jessie could move up onto the podium here.
That's the bell signifying the judges and the diver are ready.
MACAULAY going from rope with a reverse triple tuck. Wow, I cannot believe how well she's done this dive, considering maybe she's only done this a handful of times. What are we talking, like 2-3 times maximum, 4 times in total. Wow, Jessica MACAULAY. I mean, she's been performing twisting dives, rotating dives, so I think she has a great repertoire, and that's a good sign of a cliff diver that can have a whole range of skills like that. Jessica MACAULAY, very impressed, very elegant lines as well, David Kulturi.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it, versatility is key, and this is just a beautiful dive. I was talking to her in warm-up after she did this. She said she was feeling good. She hadn't quite hit it yet, but this is what Wendy LaRue, her coach, was telling her to do. A good drop, nice and tall, an awesome jump, a good clean tuck. Look at that strong kick, looking for the water. Now she comes down, brings her feet up, and that beautiful tall line that she has going through the water. That's what gets her the 8s and 8s and halves from the judges, and that was exactly what she wanted to do in the final round here. It's going to put the pressure on the final divers.
And she represents the UK, but resides in Texas, where you guys referred to the place she trains. 95 on that, a giant score, and moving into the lead by, wow, over 28 points even. So a huge score for Jessica MACAULAY. 308.55 is now the score to beat. And David Kulturi, you said it, putting the pressure on the rest of the field with only 3 remaining in this 4th and final round. MACAULAY, 308.55. Absolutely giant. Nestoriava of Belarus, 280, followed by Ginger Huber of the United States with 239 on tap. Rihanna Niflin, Lisanne Richard, and Adriana Jimenez.
Coming up, we have the superstar Rhiannon Ifland. A very important point here, she will need 7 halves to take the lead. She's got a massive, massive dive, huge degree of difficulty. back triple somersault with 2 twists, degree of difficulty of 4.3, the hardest dive any woman is performing currently in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series.
Perhaps, Joey, why she has won 10 World Series events of 15 since her first victory as a wildcard diver in 2016. A very impressive winning average.
Stopped in the big dive. I mean, Joey, one thing that we were talking about that's so impressive is Rhea comes from a trampoline background. So unlike most of the divers here in this competition, she doesn't have a lot of experience high diving. Her technique and her entry positions are what has really helped her get to the top. But what I'm most impressed about is now her takeoff. She's now doing one of the hardest dives in the world right here, a strong back twisting takeoff, something you wouldn't normally do in the trampoline world. But this is her money. This is where she gets a good branny, a tall vertical line, going in clean, and that's what's going to get good scores. Rhea is just, she's so strong mentally, she's getting strong physically. She's just been really impressing me throughout the series as it's going along.
That she has. I mean, just like you were saying before, landing on the trampoline feet first the whole time. And she didn't have the best performance in the previous rounds, but coming back strong. She's very mentally strong. And she said to herself, okay, the first few rounds weren't so great, but now it's time to put the hammer down.
No surprise putting the hammer down on that fourth and final dive. 103 for Rhiannon Ifland. Jumps into the lead, 317.10. So it's exactly what she needed. Very strong mentally, as both of you guys have alluded to. So Ifland now, the score to beat with 2 remaining, 317.10. Coming down to the wire, Ifland guaranteed a podium. The question is, what color medal will she earn? That's in the fate of Lisanne Richard, who's won here before, and Adriana Jimenez of Mexico. First, we'll see Lisanne Richard, the winner of the last stop in Sisikon, Switzerland, and winner here in Mostar in 2016, mother of 3, coming back from a neck injury last season, once graduated from circus school. And wow, I tell you what, it's a tough season for these guys, you know, with wear and tear, and we talk about the survival of the fittest, and it's exactly what she's going through right now. A lot of events and a lot of competitions leading up till this second to the last stop, guys.
Lisanne Richard, the mother of 3, the Cirque du Soleil performer. What a fine athlete. And as Trace was saying, she had the whole year off with a neck injury, and that was a very long and arduous recovery process. We were with her for some of that when she injured herself in Area 47. So to make that comeback, get your head together, be mentally strong and physically strong once again to cope with those very strong G-forces when you hit the water. You can see her just slightly rolling over at the end of the dive, and sometimes with the current that will actually push the splash backwards. If you're actually rotating in towards the current, it can bring down the splash. Coming out for that all-important Rani at the end of the dive, slightly rolled through. But all around, fine job for Lisanne Richard from Canada.
81.90 on her fourth and final dive. All 4 scores are added together. So Richard with that dive and that landing hurt her definitely on those scores. Richard, third place, 304.90. So Rhiannon Ifland holds down the fort, 317, and Jessica MACAULAY, the Brit, in second. So MACAULAY now guaranteed a podium here in Mostar off the old bridge. And here is Adriana Jimenez, having her best season of competition ever in 2018. Held the series point lead, guys, until the last stop when Rhiannon Ifland took over. She earned the 2017 Best Mexican Athlete of the Year award, a big honor presented by the President of Mexico. And guys, I mean, can she pull this off? I mean, the points between her and Rhiannon Ifland on the overall series, pretty tight.
Super close, and you know, she had 20 points on Rhee going into this last round. She's got a pretty big dive with the reverse triple, but Rhee with the 4.3 with the back twist, it's gonna be pretty close. She needs 7.5s on this to move into the lead.
The men getting ready to launch. They're looking on, spectating. Great camaraderie. Here we go.
Nicely done, Addie. Such a strong takeoff. That was the first thing that I saw in that front view. I mean, she has a really good easy squat and such an explosive, strong takeoff going into that tuck. It's hard to see exactly what happened on the entry from the front view, but I think she's going to get these 7.5s and 8s from the judges, which is going to push her into the lead, but it'll be interesting to see. Look at this tall, nice squat going into the drop. A real explosive, straight up in the air, strong jump, solid tuck, that small ball shape, a beautiful, strong kick looking at the toes, and this is the entry right here. Oh, very, very nice from the side. That's definitely going to get those 7.5s and 8s at least, which is probably going to push her into the lead. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the final results come down.
Great jump. I mean, huge elevation. Like David, we have to talk about what the judges have to look at. They have to make sure it's a nice, strong takeoff, good position in the air, good flight. So really just a few minor deductions on the entry, but the takeoff and the flight, pretty good.
Absolutely, and that kick too. I mean, she has a beautiful pointed toe kick, looking down, staying tight all the way through. Well done, Addie. I think we're gonna be looking at our new champ here.
Well, she needs an 86 on this particular dive to pull into the lead over Rhiannon Ifland. And that'll do it. You guys made the call. So a bunch of 8s. Once again, the high and the low are tossed out. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. And Adriana Jimenez giving a hug to Lisanne Richard, who now is bumped off the podium with this 93.60. That seals the deal for Adriana Jimenez of Mexico. She wins here off the old bridge in Mostar.
What a series battle this is shaping up to be. Rhiannon Ifland in second place, Jimenez in first. This will come down right to the final competition in Polignano Amare in Italy. Wow, what a series this has been. We haven't seen a series like this in quite a long time. So tight between the women and so tight between the men as well, who we'll see very shortly, but what a competition. Congratulations to all of these incredible women.
Very, very cool. And I think another awesome thing to note is Jessie stepping up on the podium, being a wild card, pushing the envelope, doing bigger and harder dives. She's definitely going to be a woman to watch for the future. I mean, she's got some potential. She'll probably move in and do another dive. Another strong showing in Polignano, and definitely someone to watch next year.
There's the women's winning dive, Adriana Jimenez. Look at how deep she's pressing. The arms will swing up, that generates rotation. Then the legs will draw towards the body. Aerial awareness is key. She'll come around, see the water there once, holding on. Beautiful ball-shaped position there, David Butterick, seeing the water for the second time. And once you see the water for the second time, that's when you need to kick. Nice strong kick out there, head coming back, and the water comes up so fast at these points. As soon as you see the water, there are mere split-second judgments to make. And she made all the judgments right with this particular dive to take the win here in Mostar.
Adriana Jimenez, the keeper, the guard of the bridge for the women. Jimenez wins it, 326.90. Ifland in second. Jessica MACAULAY, the Brit, with an impressive third place finish. Lisanne Richard just off the podium in a new comers, Katie Ederman and Celia Fernandez from the United States and Spain, doing a great job. And do we have a record score there, Joey?
My calculations, I think Rhiannon Ifland had 324.95, which he scored in Portugal. And with Adriana Jimenez, I believe we had 326. Double check that.
There you have it.
326.90, a new competition record.
Great work on the quick math, Joey Zuber. So right now, it is Adriana Jimenez who pulls back into the #1 position over Rhiannon Ifland. An absolute battle between them as we head to the final stop on September 23rd in Polignano Amare, Italy. Lisanne Richard remains in the third place position. Jessica MACAULAY remains in fourth. Estiarava, Belarus, still in fifth. What a great women's competition, guys, and it's going to be a crazy one in Italy.
It is, and also just the wild cards. We've got 5 new wild cards this season. It's just incredible. The level of the field is improving.
All right, remains a beautiful day in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Stari Mas, the old bridge. That wraps up an impressive women's competition, but now it's time to check out the men. And Joey, as we shift gears, let's get everyone up to speed on who's putting on the pressure in the first 3 rounds.
Mikael Navratil is back in fine form after he just had his baby boy, Patrick, just 2 weeks ago, so he missed the competition in Denmark. This is the front triple somersault in the pike position, the required dive round, using his experience. I mean, he must have done this dive 1,000 times, and that really shows. Jonathan Paredes, intermediate dive round, 1.5 twisting triple, the style master, rip master, time and time again. I mean, just look at that. The guy never ever misses. Just sensational. Nice replay there. Choosing to do the twist at the beginning, the pike in the middle, so the athletes will sometimes choose to do the twist, or the different skills at different parts of the dive, at the top or the middle. And Chris Kalanis, look at this, the inward quad somersault in the pike position.
Wow.
Crushing the entry. Superb performance by him. Bit of a, let's say, a rocky season, up and down, but back in form with this dive.
Absolutely, you know, one of the only divers to do that inward quad half pike and just totally destroying the bottom here in Mostar. Well done, Chris. He's trying to get back up on the horse and have a strong finish here at the end of the season.
Kalana is 6th on the overall points right now as we enter this second to final stop of the 2018 series. 7 total stops, this number 6 as we get ready for the men. Now the men's platform, 27 meters, 90 feet off the beautiful crystal clear Navratil River. Past winners here, guys: Jonathan Paredes, Mikael Navratil, and Gary Hunt. No man has ever repeated on this old bridge as a winner. MATTHIAS APPENZELLER of Switzerland will kick things off. The low score will run first, the highest will run last. Stephen Lobu, with a little bit of a weak 3rd round dive, will run number 8, so he has some work to do. Andy Jones runs 10. Jonathan Paredes also didn't have the greatest 3rd round dive. He will run number 11. Then Hunt, Kalanis, and Mikael Navratil. As you mentioned, Joey, 2 weeks ago, having a baby boy, Patrick, now in the lead as we head into the 4th and final round. All 4 scores are added together for the grand total, and a beautiful shot of the bridge. It's 4 meters long, or 3 meters long, excuse me, 4 meters wide and 24 meters high, and they have to add that addition onto it to make the men's platform 27 meters off of the river. MATTHIAS APPENZELLER, always fun to watch. This is his 2nd Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. He made his debut in his home country of Switzerland.
And what a sight it was. I mean, he was greeted by the most passionate group of fans in Switzerland. They really got behind the local hero, and it's great to see. Once again, like I was saying, newcomers to the sport. We have a great depth of field. And look at that very strong current. You can see the water spray splashing there to help the athletes see the surface to adjust for the landing.
Safety divers on hand, making sure everything's cool when the divers come into the water. Very important.
MATTHIAS APPENZELLER showing off his skills. That's what we call an inward triple somersault in the pike position. Lissam Richard, show of appreciation. Now David Kulturi, I mean, we've got very cold water temperatures here and a very strong current. I mean, you've dove off this bridge and also medaled in the competitions at this very location. How is it when you hit the water here?
It's shocking for sure. I mean, the contrast from being the hot, humid air going down into the cold river, it's definitely shocking, but it's nice conditions actually. I always like diving here in Mostar because it's usually nice outside. The river is refreshing, and MATTHIAS actually does a pretty good here final round dive. He really struggled in the first 3 rounds. Talk about versatility though. MATTHIAS a law student back in Zurich. He's one to watch coming up. He's strong, he's in shape, he's got good physical form. He's a newbie in the world of diving, but I think he's got a long, bright future ahead of him.
And he had a bunch of fans in Switzerland watching him. It was unbelievable. I mean, he was just a rock star.
Talk about the home
town.
crowd there. I mean, yeah, he was the hometown hero, and he's really just getting started with his high diving career. I'm really excited to see Matthias develop, and honestly, he's gonna perform and grow into a really strong high diver.
All tattooed up, rock solid dive on that. 236.90. Remember, all four added together for the grand total here in this men's competition. 10 women already competed and dove earlier. Adriana Jimenez won the women's competition. 14 men take to the platform here in this men's round of 4. And here's one of the wild card divers. There's 10 men that are permanently invited for the entire season. Then wild card divers are inserted into the mix throughout the season, and they kind of have their shot at trying to get up on the podium and maybe earning a position as a permanent diver in the future. Nate Jimerson from the USA and the state of Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, 31 years old, a father of 2, making his debut today in Mostar. Now working in China, Joey, at the House of Dancing Water.
Talented performer, talented cliff diver. Managed to tweak his back a little in training, so he's a little sore on the platform, just highlighting the fact that the G-forces on the body, we're talking about 10 G-forces, your body will feel like it's around about 600 kilograms, so a massive, massive impact from these heights. 27 meters high, close to 90 feet. Back arm stand, 2.5 somersaults, triple twist. The balance and poise required to do an arm stand on the platform, 27 meters. When I found it difficult enough just standing on the edge of the platform, but you've got to maintain perfect control, perfect balance. I mean, sometimes you'll turn up to these competitions, David, and it's windy, and that's not easy to maintain the balance and also keep it together mentally. I mean, you really can be bothered by the wind at times.
It can be very tough. I mean, we were talking about this during the warm-up, and I did this back arm stand with 2.5 twists for 2 years, and then I realized it just wasn't worth it. I was struggling too much on the handstands. There's plenty of locations with tough conditions, and it's a really, really hard dive to perform. Hats off to Nate for pushing through. He did tweak his back in the warm-up dive. He's really, really coming out strong for his first event. Joey, you and I were with him at the training camp in Area 47. For him to come out and do such big dives in his first competition bodes well for his future, you know, and there's so many wild cards here with myself and Orlando both injured. We're seeing so many new faces, and it's so cool to see the sport being progressed like this.
Yeah, it's very cool, and getting that experience in front of 15,000 people is awesome as well. 86 points on his 4th and final dive. 290.95 is the grand total for Nate Jimerson of the United States, the wild card diver. Matthias Appenzeller of Switzerland giving him props. You guys have mentioned many times before, unbelievable camaraderie amongst this group, all supporting each other. I mean, it's a sport that takes a lot of support from your surrounding peers when you're diving from 27 meters, 90 feet off the water. Alessandro De Rose, the 26-year-old, the youngest of the permanent qualified 2018 divers, tattooed up heavy metaler, great guy, won the final stop, not the final stop, but the final stop for us this year in Fognano Amari, Italy, is where he got things done last year with his first ever career win on the series.
Such a cool win there in Fognano.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
talk
awesome.
about, we were saying Matthias in Switzerland had a crowd. This guy in Italy, I mean, he's just a rock star.
My ears still hurt.
Oh my gosh, and his mom being there, just such a cool moment.
Alessandro, high stakes cliff diving. Didn't have the best previous round dive, so it's great that he got back up there again. And that's a real boost of confidence to finish off that way. That was a front triple somersault, 2.5 twists. I mean, Alessandro is so smooth, so stylish. Some great scores from the judges, 2 9s, 3 8.5s, and handling the pressure. Look at this, rotating forwards. Watch how he throws his arms forward like you'd throw a soccer ball, generates the rotation, comes out in the middle, second stage of the dive. Very fast, clean twist. And once again, making a great adjustment. Seems to be putting his arms to the side. He's changing his technique for the entry a little. very powerful. So you need to be very strong physically. You need a lot of flexibility. So there's so much that needs to go into the sport of cliff diving. You have to work on the mental game. You have to visualize the dives. You have to see it perfectly in the mind. You have to work on the speed as well. So you need a lot of power on the takeoff. I mean, these divers are spending hours and hours a day preparing for these competitions.
A couple nines, a bunch of 8.5s, guys. And he throws out the high and the low. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. 336.60 is the grand total for the Italian De Rose, and he will move into the lead with that strong, powerful score. He's third to go of 14 for this men's 4th round. Remember to follow us at Red Bull Cliff Diving on Instagram and use hashtag Red Bull Cliff Diving for your pictures and posts, and take a look at all the amazing photos, videos posted over the past several days, and of course today. So get after that as we go back up to the top of the old bridge, Starry Most. Sergio Guzman of Mexico. He's replacing Orlando Duque, who's not here, out with an injury. Peaks and valleys story here, guys, in Mostar. Second in 2015, but then a big, which is the first podium for him, and then a huge crash last year in 2017. The type of thing you don't want to see any diver, you know. I mean, it was. I mean, he landed right on his stomach last year. I mean, how do you get through that mentally, Dave?
It was definitely a tough one. Well, first of all, hats off to Sergio for not only recovering and coming back and doing that dive right away in Chile, just a couple weeks after the incident in Mostar last year. But I mean, this guy is just doing such a great job this year. I've had a chance to talk with him a couple times, and he's handling being once a permanent series diver and now a wild card again, and he's just handling this process so well.
Did he go to his back or his stomach?
He went to his chest.
Stomach,
he went to his chest, yeah.
And I mean, obviously something that would affect everybody, but I promise you, he's trying not to think about it right now, and it's the last thing you want to think about. You are staying in the moment right now. Sergio just wants to focus on this dive right now. He did it okay in warm-up. He needs to get a strong, good takeoff, kick right, and he will be fine. And this is what's going through his head right now. He's definitely feeling the nerves. He's got to be nervous. He's got to be scared. But this is why Sergio's a pro, and this is why he's coming back strong here in 2018.
Overcoming adversity, the key message for Sergio Guzman. Sergio Guzman, talk about the nerves he would have been feeling on the platform, and you can literally feel it. I think all 3 of us on in the commentary booth were really feeling nervous for him, and imagine how it feels for him. But what a job well done. I mean, that memory would just plague him.
Emotion right there.
Oh, this is fantastic. And great scores for Sergio Guzman. I mean, what an achievement for him. Had a patchy season and really started to improve his results in Denmark, pushing the dive a little bit too far away, so he had to really hold on to the last minute. So David, when you get those takeoffs that move further away, makes the dive very slow, makes it feel very heavy.
Exactly, and you need to make those mid-air adjustments. See that? He's a little bit too far from the platform, and in those reverse rotating dives, it's going to slow him down. So he waits, he kicks straight vertical, he does a quick pike down for the water, but look at that entry. I mean, finishing strong, going in tall and vertical clean. That's why he gets those 8s and 8.5s. But you said it, overcoming adversity, coming back, showing Mostar who's boss, who can do a reverse quad. Sergio Guzman can.
Yeah, he's the boss of the bridge right now, guys. 351.75, the grand total after 4 rounds are added together. So Sergio Guzman back on the horse, or back on the bridge, so to speak, and so much emotion, and all of the rest of the divers, they know it. They are so stoked for him.
Yeah, you talk about that camaraderie. I mean, high fives and hugs all around. It's such a supportive and family-like atmosphere. It's what I love about the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. We're all competitors, but we're also brothers. We're brothers and sisters. We coach each other. We motivate each other. It's just so cool to see. And here's another wild card coming in, making his name loud and proud. Konstantin Popovic just fitting right in, doing some big dives for his first year. He's going to come into Polignano. He's got a chance here as a wild card to even make it as a permanent series diver.
And if you just joined us, David Colturi in the booth with us, and David's not here because of a recent injury. And actually, Konstantin is replacing you for this event. So Konstantin catching a little break as you join us in the booth.
Absolutely, yeah. He's coming in late into the season, but he's coming in strong. We just had a long couple competitions. He did well in Mar meeting. He's coming in here. He's going to do some big dives, and he's got a chance at the end of the season here to end up high in the rankings. Yes, Constantine. Oh, I love his style of diving. I mean, he's not doing the hardest dives here with the back triple double. Only a 4.1 degree of difficulty, but he's doing the dives well, and he looks so clean and graceful in the air. I mean, he's got great lines. He's in good shape. Look at this strong takeoff. A nice, easy squat with an explosive, good jump straight up. A beautiful twist into the pike, and this is what he's doing so well. He's doing the easier dives, but he has so much time to line up, and that's why you see that awesome grip entry we always talk about. Vertical, clean, really, really no splash, deviated at all from the water. I love that takeoff coming off. 1.5 twist, square, good pike, good fly. He's got all the aspects, and I love how some people come into the sport early and they try to push too hard. And Constantine's doing it right. Look at those 9s and 8.5 from the judges. He's just doing it all right. And to come in for your first season, coming in from a long tradition of diving, he did 10 meter, he did shows, he did high diving. He's still doing 10 meter diving, competing for Romania in both 10 meter and high diving as well. He's a newcomer into the field, but he's doing some revolutionary things.
He pushes down Dorose to third as he moves into second. The wild card diver with 3:46.10. As we go back to the top of the bridge, dating back to the 16th century, originally built in 1557. It took 9 years to complete this bridge. We'll give you more history on that as we look at Catalin Preda. And you like this guy, the degree of difficulty off the charts.
Another brand new wild card. I mean, we've basically heard nothing about this guy, and here he is in this competition. I mean, now he's going to perform a dive that we've never seen before. Back 4 somersaults with 2 twists. I mean, coming into his first event with such bravery and such skill, it's just remarkable. I mean, very physically fit, very talented, massive degree of difficulty, 5.1, so he'll take off from the platform backwards. 1.5 twists at the beginning and then continue in those pike positions to complete the rotations. Very impressive stuff.
Very cool, Joe. You know, it's interesting the juxtaposition here between the 2 Romanians. Constantine coming in with some easier dives, and now we've got Catalin coming in with some of the hardest dives of the list. Both wild cards, both first year on the series. Interesting to see how they're going to end up.
27 meters, 90 feet above the river.
What a competition, a brand new dive we've never seen before from a brand new wildcard, and what a well-executed dive. Crushed the entry. I mean, this is sensational stuff. I mean, the field, the level of the divers improving year by year. Massive show of appreciation. Gary Hunt, 6-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion. I mean, he just can't believe what he just saw there. What a dive.
I mean, Catalin is putting the wild in wild card. Coming in, throwing big dives, and honestly, he's been killing it in warm-up, and he just missed his 3rd round a little bit, but this, doing a back quad with 2 twists, the first time ever in competition, and just absolutely smoking the entry there.
Just look at this, and the thing that's interesting is the twist, massive amount of power into the pike position. What I can't believe here, watch this, comes out quite early. I mean, that just shows the power he has on takeoff. You have no idea how much training you need to do to be able to get that dive done so easily. I mean,
Absolutely.
I thought he would have finished the dive a lot lower, but massive scores. 2 9.5s, 3 9s for Catalin Preda, the wild card from Romania. There's his teammates. This is amazing.
2.5, guys. That is absolutely giant. The highest score Steve Lobu holds in an individual dive at 145. So the wild card diver getting close, and he moves into the lead. The Romanian with 384.30. A guy who comes into this event making his debut and just shaking things up, guys. Unbelievable. Preda now in the #1 spot. Sergio Guzman in 2nd. Popovic in 3rd. Dorose gets bumped off the podium in 4th. Navratil still remains in 5th, and he hasn't even taken his 4th and final dive. So Catalin Preda, 6 to go of 14 as we look at Owen Weymouth, the youngest of the divers here on the men's side. The Brit is only 19 years old.
You know, my mom's here in the crowd, and she looked at me at dinner last night. She said, I cannot even imagine you at 19 years old trying these dives from these heights. I mean, hats off to Owen for coming in. He's so mature, he's strong, he's developing, he's doing a great job handling the pressure and the fear. He had an accident diving in the States earlier this year. He sliced his foot open, he's coming back from that, and he's just doing such a good job. Here he's doing a relatively new dive for him, a front arm stand, big dive. Here we go, Owen.
kid when he was like 14, 15 years old, coming to one of the competitions in Wales saying, this is my dream, I want to be a cliff diver, and then to actually see him actualize the dream, standing on the platform, or not even standing, performing a handstand on the platform. Look at this, there's the arm stand, so he has to bend, watch how close his head comes to the platform. Very unusual technique there, into the pike, there's the twist, squaring out wide with the arms to stop the twist, and the Barani, and a very, very clean entry. I mean, it's so difficult doing these dives. Brand new, he only just learnt this recently. And these twisting dives, you really need to use a lot of feeling in the air. I guess those rotating skills where you'd have to count the somersaults, but this one you feel your way in the air.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much going on here. The handstand takeoff, pushing into the rotation, also twisting at the same time. Hats off to Owen for doing such a good job. A new dive, scoring 7.5s and 8s from the judges. Well done, Owen. He's coming back from that injury. Couldn't be more proud of him.
I mean, for these wildcard divers coming in and just diving well has to be an unbelievable experience and just a great satisfaction, regardless of the results.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about the record number of wildcard divers here in Mostar. It's so cool to see so many new faces, everybody pushing the sport into new realms. It's just awesome to see cliff diving progressing in this way. It's been 10 years on the series so far. It's already gotten to such a cool spot, and it keeps going higher and higher.
And the variety of dives is very interesting for me at this particular competition. It's just been incredible.
All right, guys, here's the current 2018 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series leader at 700 points. He leads Gary Hunt by 90 points, winner of 2 stops this season. And David Kulturi, you're good friends with him. What turned the corner for Steve this season?
It's funny to think about it. I mean, I really don't know what it was for Steve. I think it's just the experience, honestly. Everybody talks about, like, what's the secret to success here? How do you do well in cliff diving? There are no shortcuts. Literally, it's hard work and experience, and that's what Steve's put in. Year after year, hard work and experience. He's had some really good results here and there, but now he's finally consistently ending up towards the top of the podium, and that's why he's leading the current standings right now.
Steve LeBeau marking out the running takeoff, using the running takeoff to generate rotational power. Timex dive clock counting down. Call it the spin master for no reason, slightly missing the entry, but full marks.
Absolutely.
Full marks.
And you know,
courage required.
he's been battling quite a bit of an injury this season. He had a hamstring tweak here in Mostar on the first dive. He tweaked his adductors. It's been a rough one for Steve so far here in Bosnia, but pretty good scores from the judges, honestly. I mean, it's so hard to see from that drone front view what was going on, but I mean, Steve always has a strong takeoff on this front quip. Watch, coming into the end, a jump to the end, strong up and over the top, beautiful pike, chest folded down on the legs, coming out at 4.5, seeing the water, coming in, and he's vertical, and the splash looked a lot bigger from the other side, but it just rolled through a little bit. I mean, honestly, this is a good dive. I love that direction he gets, up and over the top. Beautiful pike, holding on for 4.5 somersaults. Him and Chris Kalanis, the only 2 doing this dive. Very, very difficult, and just a little bit pikey and loose going in, but still pretty clean. There's Mama Kulturi. Congratulations.
Give him some tips with Steve LeBeau.
Yeah,
hey, man, he jumped on the other side. What's up with that?
You know, she knows how to coach diving after all these years.
Steve LeBeau, the current leader on the series, in 2nd position. So Catalin Preda with that impressive 4th round dive, and the degree of difficulty keeps him as the leader and the king and the guard of the bridge at the moment. So Preda 384.30 leads the way. LeBeau with that last dive puts him into 2nd, and Owen Weymouth, the youngster, with 358 puts him into 3rd. LeBeau was 8 of 14 to dive. Here's Blake Aldridge, the oldest of the men competing here in Mostar at 36 years old. Became a father to a baby girl, Lila, just after the first stop in Texas back in June. He's been cruising around with Steve Aoki, the famous DJ, teaching him how to cliff dive. That's always fun to watch.
Blake Aldridge, the former Olympian, he just wastes no time on the platform. I mean, some of the divers take a long time. They like to think about it. They prepare, but I mean, Blake gets up there and says, nope, I just want to get off the platform. I don't want to think about the dive too much. So everybody has their own routine, their own strategy. So Blake comes from an Olympic background, so great technical base.
Absolutely. Yeah, some decent scores from judging here with Blake. I mean, it's been such an interesting competition. So many different lead changes, people going up and down. Blake's been pretty consistent. He's battling that leg injury, but he's doing pretty good. Right on the bottom there, he just gets in a little bit of trouble, and I'm wondering if it's the injury or he's just feeling everything after this long season, but he's got a pretty good takeoff there, going into 2.5 twist. That Olympic diving background showing such good form. It's right at the bottom here, going into that lineup. You can see he's just not finishing through that vertical line well enough. He's not holding it tall and vertical, just gets a little splashy. So decent remarks from the judges, but with so many big dives and big scores, I don't think he's going to end up on the podium.
You're right there. 4th place for Aldridge, 357.50. I'm still trying to work my way into one of those Aoki concerts.
Seriously, come on,
yeah.
Blake.
Flip us a pass,
I mean, I've been following him on Instagram. It's good stuff, and he's always backstage. It's cool.
It's hindering his training.
It is. All right, Andy Jones. David, one of your close friends. Hey, tell our viewers something they might not know about Andy. Put you on the spot.
The annoying thing with Andy is I've been friends with him for 8 years now. I haven't found one thing he's bad at. He's literally good at everything.
Does he pay the tab, like when you go out to dinner?
Yeah, sometimes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
No, he's
he
gracious.
can work on that.
Yeah, he's friendly, he's humble. But seriously, I mean, the guy can play every sport. I thought I was good at video games. He kicked my butt in Mario Kart. He's literally good at everything. He's a cat. He's a stunt man. He can do every single dive and do it so well. He had an injury in the off season. He really didn't get to train much, but he's still diving really well, and that's what's super impressive. Yeah, Mr. Jones. That's what I'm talking about.
Turning up the heat. I mean, this guy, David Couturier, he's just got a lot of experience working in Cirque du Soleil. Spent a long time honing in those entries. I mean, he just knows what to do at the right moment.
Exactly. I mean, talk about clutch. This guy, he never shows nerves. He never shows fear. Even when he was injured, he never complained about pain. He's just an all-around champion. And for him to come in towards the end of the round, knowing that there's been some big scores before him, he comes in and just stays within himself. He does this front triple with 2.5 twists, and he does it like he always knows how. Sneaking it in on the bottom there, a little bit short of entry, but he does a good job staying tight. We were talking about the direction of flow of the river. On that one, it helped him out a little bit because he was facing chest down towards upstream of the water. So you see as he comes into the water here, his chest is a little bit forward, but the river helps push that splash a little bit more forward, so it actually helps him a little bit, and it keeps it a little bit cleaner than normal. But I love Andy's style of diving. He's got that beautiful twist coming out at double twist, comes out, sees the water, and still gets it down clean. Nice job, Andy.
The water temperature again, 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. It's chilly as Andy Jones of the United States moves into 3rd place with that, 364.35. So the wild card diver, Preda, still holds down the #1 spot. With 4 remaining in this competition, Preda, Labou, and Jones. Coming up, Jonathan Paredes, Gary Hunt, 6-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion, Mikhail Navratil, Chris Kolonis, and here's Paredes.
Jonathan Paredes, the style master, the rip master. Now the competition is heating up, getting towards the end of the rounds. And if he wants to take the lead, we're talking about scoring 7.5s and 8s from the judges, a mix of scores. So the pressure is certainly on. The question is, can he handle it? Front 4 somersaults, 1.5 twists in the pike position. Like Steve Labou, he'll run towards the end of the platform. He's got to mark it out perfectly. A lot is at stake for the World Series points and at this competition.
His first win here was in 2015, the first win of his career.
Not a big mistake, but would definitely say uncharacteristic for him. But this is the 4th and final round. It's all about degree of difficulty. With a dive like this, very easy to over-rotate. So at the beginning when we saw Jonathan Paredes try this particular dive, sometimes he would land arms up and he's rotating a bit too quick. Looked like he didn't really jump the dive up, but in my opinion, just leaning a bit too far forward. We can see the side angle here.
Exactly. Good note there, Joey. Yeah, he just goes down into it a little bit too much. So much momentum, so many rotations and somersaults in this dive. So here he's having a hard time stopping the rotation. That's why it just goes a little bit over there. He's got a good vertical line, but he's just passed on the entry. That's why it gets a little bit of splash there. Still decent remarks from the judges, though, because everything else is so good. I mean, you call him the style master. Such a good throw. Beautiful pike, clean twist, back into the pike. Such a big dive. And here he comes in for the entry. You were saying, Joey, just a little over here.
A little unfortunate. Very interesting seeing all these different styles of dives. Some of the divers choosing to do twists at the beginning or in the middle. This was a very interesting way to approach this particular maneuver, so I was quite impressed when he finally got that dive done.
Guys, a reminder, no man has ever repeated as winner here off the old bridge, and the curse will continue for Jonathan Paredes with 103. He needed more to pull into the lead. Second place for Jonathan Paredes with 383.30. Catalin Preda from Romania, the wild card diver, still remains the leader with 3 to go in this fourth and final round. All 3 dives are added together for the grand total, and Preda came in here, wanted it bad, threw down the gauntlet with a huge degree of difficulty, and he remains the leader. We'll see if that holds. Not easy to do when guys like Gary Hunt are next on the platform. Winner of this stop last year and winner of the last 2 stops this year. Can he pull off the hat trick coming here into Mostar? And Gary Hunt won here last season. Can he repeat as a winner?
He's had a very slow start to the season, so he had a mental block where he lost his twisting ability, so to overcome that is just tremendous. And to stand on the platform, he's got the triple quad, back 4 somersaults, or 3 somersaults with 4 twists, massive degree of difficulty, 5.2. Must score 7s or 6.5s from the judges to take the lead. This man is what I call an acrobatic genius. Smooth, stylish, I mean the twist is just impeccable. Gary Hunt, that is why he is a 6-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion. I mean, this guy gets on the podium 81% of the time.
32 career victories in 70 stops. So impressive.
Look at this, bending the legs, arms reaching up, nice smooth twist, no split of the legs whatsoever, coming to the pike, no wobble, honing in for the entry. I mean, this guy is just smooth and stylish. A slight mistake with the roll through at the end, but being incredibly picky. I mean, this guy just makes everything look so easy, and that is a true sign of a champion, but it's so smooth like that.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy's a machine. He's somebody you look up to. We talk about consistency, somebody who doesn't necessarily show the nerves or the pressure. He just stands up there every time. He's at peace with himself, and he just throws down the gauntlet every single time. Big scores, big pressure situation. Well done, Gary.
I'm sure he's impressed with Preda, as we saw earlier, but he said, not this time, not my podium. Hunt goes into the lead and pushes wildcard diver Preda to second. So Gary Hunt now sets the tone at 415.30 points with 2 to dive. So Hunt, Paredes, right now your top 3. And Chris Kolonis of Poland coming up next. And Kolonis really shook things up with the leaderboard, guys. After the 3rd round dive, he nailed it and moved him into the top spot. Reverse running order, which means the low score runs first, the high score runs last. Kolonis doing a great job getting into this position. Mikhail Navratil to follow. The Timex dive clock counting down as the artistic character who won the season opener in Texas gets ready to dive.
Shaping up to be a very, very tight competition. From our calculations, Chris would need to score 8s, and that's within his grasp. It's a very difficult dive, so it can be hit or miss. But if he hits it, he's within a running chance. And literally speaking of running, another running takeoff.
Absolutely. One of only 2 divers, Stephen LeBou, the only other diver to do the front quint with a half twist. It's been such an interesting competition, Joey. I mean, so many different lead changes, a lot of wild cards, some big dives, some small dives for high scores. It's been really, really fun to watch. Chris coming in here, second to last diver to dive, high pressure situation, big DD, big dive. Can he hold tough and show the river who's boss.
Chris Kalanis. It's all up to you, no pressure. 27 meters high, fourth and final round, the penultimate stop. Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series 2018. Chris Kalanis about to dive. Throwing down the gauntlet. I'm not really sure if that's going to make it in terms of the scores he would need to take the lead. But nonetheless, one of the hardest dives in the world. And as you were saying, David Bouturi, only Steve LeBeau and Chris Kalanis are performing these dives. And these particular maneuvers, I mean, maybe you can explain to the viewers how you orientate yourself with these rotating takeoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many somersaults here. You see him throw super hard and get to that nice, tight pike shape. And you think to yourself, how does this guy go up and do 5 somersaults from 27 meters? It's not like one day you just wake up and go up there and chuck it. You start at the edge of the pool. You actually start on the ground, training with gymnastics mats. You do 1 flip. You go up a little bit higher, you do 2 flips. Then you do 3 flips. You do this in a progression, a series. And Chris is he's doing a pretty good job of handling these hard dives. He comes in just a little bit short of a vertical there on the entry, a little bit chest down. It's going to be a good miss for him, but not huge scores. Ooh, a little bit rough from there. 5.5s and 6s, only 86.7 points. I wonder, maybe the judges saw something we didn't on that one.
They're always sitting at the side angle, so they try to judge everything fairly and equally from the takeoff, the flight, and the entry.
There's his wife, Anna Batter, fellow high diver. They've got the crew Mad Hoppers. You'll see many of the divers sporting their brand and their Speedos and swimsuits.
Final diver, guys, Gary Hunt. Guaranteed a podium. Preda, how about that? Guaranteed a podium as we enter our 4th and final dive. And the last diver in this round, Mikhail Navratil. Now, Mikhail Navratil, remember, he won this event off the old bridge in 2016. As we talked about before, guys, nobody has ever repeated a victory and a win off the old bridge, but it's going to happen today because regardless, if Mikhail Navratil lands on the top of the podium, he will be a guy to repeat. If not, Gary Hunt will win. And so we finally have broke the curse, and we'll have a repeat winner on the old bridge.
Such a cool place. I mean, so many exciting things happen here in Mostar. So many wild cards that actually have big showings. Nikita Fedotov in the day, a 3rd place finish. Now coming in with the Romanians, I mean, so many cool big divers. Jesse McCauley had a good showing. It's such an interesting place. So many exciting things happen here off the Starry Most.
Mikhail Navratil, front 3 somersaults with 2.5 twists. Needs a near perfect execution. 9.5.
Oh, here he goes.
Let's ramp up the crowd. Let's feel the energy. He always talks about that. Like, I need to feel the energy before I dive.
Remember, guys, only 2 weeks ago, he became a father of a baby boy named Patrick. Back on his game, 15,000 fans cheering him on.
Well, not
pretty
quite
good.
a perfect dive, but Mikhail Navratil doing his baby boy proud.
Absolutely.
I hope Patrick, 2 weeks of age, understands what's going on. Hey, Daddy, you're pretty special. Dude.
All right, guys, will that do it?
I don't think that's going to do it. I think that's going to hold. Mr. Hunt is going to be the leader. And, you know, such a fun competition. Mikhail here, being the showman, getting the crowd into it for his last dive. So cool. There's Addy hugging Gary. I think they all know it. The last dive here, pretty good. He has a strong takeoff, goes into that nice pike. Mikhail's got great technique coming in for the twist. Here at the bottom, almost getting that tall vertical line, but just a little bit short. Hips out, a little short of vertical. That's why it's a little bit splashy. He's not going to get those 9.5s and 10s that he needed, but still, hats off to Mikhail, the new father. A lot of divers actually becoming parents this year in the last couple of years. So cool to see him. I don't know how they handle it.
No, I don't either. It's interesting with Chris and obviously Anna, you know, they actually literally, one's training, the other one's holding, you know, their baby girl, and then
exactly.
they swap over from men's to the women's training. I mean, it's just incredible.
I mean, perhaps the time off helped him, you know, with everybody else battling injuries, and Mikhail Navratil coming in fresh. So
coming in ripped,
there
no
you go.
body fat.
Well done, Mikhail. Gets those 7.5s, 1.7. Not a bad dive. He had a really good competition. He had 3 other really solid dives. Such a fun event here in Mostar. So many people jumping around on the leaderboard. What's he going to get? He doesn't know.
We'll add them together. The high and the low tossed out, the remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. It's not going to do it with that 96, guys. 394.10. Mikhail Navratil finds the podium. It is his 2nd place finish
I don't think Mikhail Navratil realised what kind of situation he was in. I don't think he realised he had a chance to be on the podium. So what a surprise for him.
And that guy right there, Gary Hunt, giving Preda a hug. Preda, the wild card diver, on the podium, but it is the 33rd career victory in 71 stops for the man, the 6-time Red Bull cliff diving world champion, Gary Hunt. A slow start to the season, couldn't find his way through the first couple competition, is now back on top.
And it really wasn't easy for him. I mean, David Couture and I were talking about this. I mean, he went through mental anguish. He performed the wrong dive at the last tour stop in Chile, and he basically couldn't do those single twisting dives again or double twisting dives. He'd lost his way, so he had to rebuild his brain, so to speak, get back to basics, and learn how to do the dives again. And here he is with the winning dive, the triple quad, his signature maneuver. He's the first person in the world to do this dive. Massive elevation. It's so rare that you find an athlete of this caliber in any sport. Look at his toes lapped over one another. A little trick to make sure the feet don't split apart in the air. Coming around, he never wobbles at this point of the dive. A lot of the divers will start to kink, moving left and right, but everything is smooth, everything is stylish. Job well done. So Gary Hunt, the acrobatic genius, that's what I like to call him.
And the first ever repeat winner off the old bridge, so the curse broken there. One thing that hasn't happened, though, from what I believe, the winner of this has never won the series either.
Well, if you've done your stats, I think you've got us on that
I'm
one.
just
You've
throwing
got
it out
us.
there.
Trace, hey,
I'm just throwing it out there.
it's all yours.
But this could potentially break because now Gary with the win here, and Steve, who was leading, now got 5th place. That's going to change the overall leaderboard quite a little bit. So it's going to be interesting now moving into Polignano for the finale.
How about
Catalin Preda, the wild card, outing Jonathan by just 1 point to get on the podium. A wild card spot here in Mostar. Jesse MACAULAY getting on, now Catalin Preda getting on, Constantine dropping down to 11th. Man,
I mean, these wild card divers shaking things up, especially for Steve Lobu. I mean, it just pushes him down another notch. Hunt gets another jump on him.
I mean, Catalin Preda as well. I mean, he didn't really have the greatest start. He was sort of back in the ranks, 7th position or something like this, and then to come back with that massive degree of difficulty and receive those high scores in the last round, job well done. Another wildcard taking a 3rd place finish, just like Nikita Fedotov, so very impressive.
There you go, there you have it. Gary Hunt now takes over the lead on the 2018 overall World Series points with 810. Steve Lobu still in the hunt, though, for that King Kahekili trophy as we lead to the final stop in Italy. Jonathan Paredes is also in the mix, 3rd place. It's going to be tight.
I mean, this is coming right down to the wire. We're just talking about 20 points between Gary and Steve Lobu. I mean, this will be a real fight to the very end of the competition. My question is, do you think Steve Lobu will change his dive, stick to the strategy of doing the back triple, or do you think he's going to have to step it up?
I don't know. It's going to be dependent upon how he recovers over these next 2 weeks. I mean, he's really been fighting some injury. It's going to be, he's going to go home. He's going to go back to his family. We'll see how he can recover and what dives he does in Italy.
15,000 fans and a lot doing some work on Instagram. Thanks to everyone. It's Mia right there weighing in. Great shot. Look at that. Loving the old bridge. Who do we have here? Helm. Wait, how do you get on the boat? How do you get up top? Did you bring him up there, Dave?
I didn't even get a security pass to the bridge.
How do you get past? Yeah, how do you get past the bridge guard?
Oh, we got a couple VIP. Frankie up there. Way to go, buddy.
Yep, Frankie. Remember to hashtag Red Bull Cliff Diving on Instagram.
Throwing up the
Rock
horns.
on, rock on, people.
Rock and roll. Yeah,
What
we
a bridge.
appreciate everybody. And what a bridge, you guys. The old bridge stood for 427 years until it was destroyed on November 9th of 1993 during the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The bridge was reconstructed with many of the original stones, which commenced on June 7th of 2001, and Joey inaugurated on July 23rd of 2004, where you dove in that event.
Yeah, with Orlando Duque, it was a very special moment. You really understood what the bridge means to all of these locals here, and as a matter of fact, when I arrived there, you'd see all the locals with the tattoo of the bridge on their shoulder and their back. So this is a historic location, over 400 years of diving history from this very bridge, so it's an honor for us to be here today.
All right, and of course, you guys, the grand finale of the 2018 series takes us to southern Italy and Polignano Amare as we first take a look at some podium presentations.
So impressed with
Jessica
Jessica.
MACAULAY.
Really, I mean, that new dive, the reverse triple, and that got her on the podium. And she's a wild card. Job well done. And I'm expecting great things from her next year.
Rihanna Niflin now I mean, taking a look at the points between Rihanna Niflin and Ariana Jimenez, again, just like the men, it is tight, guys. It is going to go down to the last and final stop.
I believe it's the same for the men. We've only got 20 points difference between Adriana Jimenez and Rihanna Niflin, so one of the greatest showdowns, one of the greatest finals we'll see in Polignano.
And Rihanna Niflin bring home the silver. Adriana Jimenez. Now, just like the men, no woman has repeated as a winner here off the old bridge. Lisanne Richard in 2016, Cecily Carlton, who's not diving in this particular event, won last season, and now Adriana Jimenez. So, similar situation unfolding where no repeat divers on the women's side have got it done off the old bridge. Great job by Jimenez today, though. Solid diving.
All round, just such an interesting competition. So many great stories. Like we said before, wonderful performances from the wildcards and the series divers. Getting towards the end of the season, and David Coulturi mentally and physically very taxing and challenging for all the athletes.
Ariana Jimenez of Mexico. The winner off the old bridge, Starry Most.
What a great performance by her. So she's been steadily improving year by year. Patchy starts, and this year she's really found her rhythm with the entries in particular. That was the thing. She always had great takeoffs, good flight, but the entries were very difficult for her to hone down.
Absolutely, we were talking about the secret to success, experience, and hard work. She's really just put in the time. She's got the experience now, and that's why it's all come together. Such a fun moment for her and the other ladies up there, listening to your own national anthem, getting the bottle of champagne. I think Addie not only won the event, but she won the champagne spray as well. She was really the only one there that had a full spray there after the first little bit.
You know, we talk about the history of the diving here. I mean, the locals dive off at some, you know, people have to give money to see them go into the river.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I mean, how is it for you, like, to see all that and to come here and dive? I mean, this is the most passionate fans in the world right here.
It's so cool, Trace. I mean, honestly, everybody loves it so much. Everybody near the bridge follows the event. They know us all by name. I mean, I got one of the local soccer club's jersey here years ago. I wear it. Everybody knows me. They pat me on the back. They kiss the star. Here we have another wild card, Catalin Preda, coming up on the podium for third place. What a performance for Catalin to come in for his Red Bull cliff diving debut and throw down like this.
I mean, it shows that degree of difficulty pays off once in a while.
It does,
right?
yeah. You got to get the degree of difficulty with obviously, you know, great execution. But I mean, he really kind of threw down the gauntlet and said, "I'm just going to go for it." And as you were saying, different strategies. Some come in saying, "Okay, just take it easy. Let's gain some experience." But he's diving regularly in the show from 25 meters, so he felt fit and ready to try the new dives. And hats off to him. Mikhail Navratil, great to see him on the podium again. He missed the last tour stop in Denmark due to the baby boy Patrick, so we forgive him for that.
Absolutely.
But, what a great way to come back.
Another diver who's really worked through the years. I mean, Mikhail, not the most technical diving background, but just, you talk about hard work and experience, that's the face of it right there. Mikhail has pushed year after year after year, training super hard and getting himself into some good positions.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy who, the winner of this stop in 2016, which was 2 weeks following his first career victory after 52 attempts.
Just persistence. And here we have the champion, Mr. Gary Hunt. We talked about it, Joey. I mean, a roller coaster of from failing his last dive in Chile, a rough off season, not being able to twist, coming in early season at the back of the rankings. I mean, doing dives he normally wouldn't do, no twist. He was doing front and inward somersaulting dives. He started to twist in the middle of the season, and he just bumped it up from Sisikon on. He's now moved his way, leapfrogging each stop up towards the top, and now he is leading the overall series.
He's an 8th and 10th place finishes at the very beginning of the season. Really way at the back of the field, coming screaming back up the ladder. I mean, job well done. Incredible.
And the celebration begins for Gary Hunt, the men's winner. Adriana Jimenez of Mexico wins it for the women. Next, the grand finale of the 2018 series. Again, it takes us to southern Italy, Joey, and Polignano Amare, where the homes rise from the cliffs. This place literally rocks.
That's right, Trace. This location is definitely a really unique setting for the athletes. I mean, they're going to dive directly from the balcony of a residential house. The great thing about Polignano Amare, they'll be greeted by a huge crowd of spectators. And in my opinion, this will be a very fitting place to witness the lucky winners of the King Kaikili Trophy, awarded to the overall series winners. And now we know everything will come down to the wire. Just 20 points between the top two for the men and for the women. This will be a real showdown in Polignano Amare.
And you can check it out as we will broadcast it live on September 23rd at 1:10 p.m. CEST, which is 11 a.m. GMT, on a variety of platforms, including Red Bull, cliffdiving.com, Red Bull TV, Facebook, and YouTube. With that, we wrap up stop number 6 on the 2018 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series from Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. We'll see you next time from the final stop in Italy, and as always, check out redbullcliffdiving.com for more info. On behalf of Joey Zuber, David Colturi, and our entire team, I'm Trace Worthington. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later from Mostar and the Old Bridge.